there, my name is Jenny. I'm an admin with New Ball Python Keepers, and this is Erwin, my assistant. In this video, we're going to be showing you how to appropriately apply Silvadene cream to your snake. Silvadene cream is a silver-based antimicrobial and wound healing cream. Silvadene is the prescription name for it in the US. I don't know if maybe it goes by a different name in other countries. The generic name for it is silver sulfadiazine. It is a prescription medication for both humans, and you can get a prescription for it from a vet. There's also some over-the-counter formulations that are going to be pretty similar. One of them is from Curade. It's called Wound Shield, and it actually used to go by an older name called Silver Solution, but you're primarily going to find it under the name Wound Shield now. That's going to be the closest thing to the prescription Silvadene cream. You want to avoid just using any kind of random wound cream or anything that says it's a random antibiotic cream or ointment. Anything oil-based, any kind of ointment is going to damage the structural integrity of your snake's scale, so you want to avoid that. You also don't want to use anything that's going to have any kind of painkiller in it, because that's really dangerous also. So you specifically want to stick with either the prescription Silvadene, the Curade Wound Shield, or anything that says on it that it's specifically a generic of either of those products is fine to use. Some precautions when you're using the Silvadene cream, you want to, if you have an allergy to sulfa or to any kind of sulfur-based antibiotics, specifically Bactrim is a sulfa-based antibiotic. If you personally have an allergy to those, you want to make sure that you're wearing gloves when you're applying the Silvadene cream to your snake. Gloves and long sleeves, because chances are the cream's going to get a few different places on you, and you want to try to avoid having an allergic reaction. It's not a real strong possibility, but it is a possibility. If you have an anaphylactic or a very severe allergy to sulfa, just avoid the Silvadene altogether. Talk to your vet and come up with a different option. Some of the things that you would use the Silvadene cream for, you would use it for skin infections, like scale rot would be a really common one, or any kind of surface injury like a small burn or a small prey item bite. Those would all be fine for Silvadene. You do not want to use it on any kind of mucous membranes, so mouth rot, you would not use Silvadene. Also a prolapse or anything of that nature. Puncture wound, you would not use Silvadene. So it's going to specifically be small burns, small areas of scale rot, relatively minor or relatively minor cuts, scrapes, bites, things like that. Anything where you're going to have a large area of the snake's body that is covered with the infection or the wound or the burn, or anything where there's bone exposed or it's actively bleeding, you're going to want to talk to a vet. You don't want to treat that yourself. You want to get a professional opinion before you just start treating that. So as far as applying the cream, you can use it barehanded, but with any medical thing, you always want to make sure that you've washed your hands really, really well. Wash your hands all the way up to the elbows. If you have an antibacterial soap, that's even better. If you don't, you can use a alcohol-based hand sanitizer, and then wash your hands really thoroughly after that. Make sure you're as germ-free as you can possibly be. If you're wearing soiled clothes from cleaning out enclosures or something like that, make sure you change your clothes. You can also, if you're either worried about germ spread, or if you're squeamish about touching the wound, you can certainly wear rubber gloves. Let's see if he's going to tolerate this. You want to make sure they are disposable rubber gloves, but vinyl will work, nitrile, latex, any kind of disposable gloves, just not something that you used to clean the toilet last week. Make sure that you use them and then throw them away. Now, when you apply the cream, a couple things to keep in mind. Number one, you do not want to touch the tube of the cream directly to the snake. because that's going to introduce bacteria to the tube, which is defeating the point. So if you have either like a small dish or something that you can apply the cream to, some clean surface that you can apply the cream to and then transfer it to the snake. That's going to be the easiest way to do it. I personally find bare fingers to be the easier way to go about it, but some people are going to be more comfortable with a Q-tip, especially if it's going to be a small area on the back of the snake. You can definitely kind of scoop the cream up with the Q-tip and just apply it. I'm not actually going to put cream on him because he doesn't have an injury, and I'm not going to put medication on him that he does not need. But if you're dealing with a small prey bite on the back or the sides of your snake, or a small injury from coming into contact with something abrasive in his enclosure, something like that, you just scoop a little bit up, apply it, try and keep him from wiping it off for about a minute or two, and then you can return him to his enclosure. Some of it will come off. It's not a big deal as long as you've given it, a minute or two to kind of absorb. It'll do its job. A much more challenging application is going to be for scale rot, which is going to be on the snake's belly primarily. So, of course, snakes are not real big fans of being turned upside down. So the positioning is going to be a little more challenging for this. We've done this a couple times today, so I'm going to see if he's going to put up with my shenanigans. He's usually pretty tolerant, but like I said, he's done this a couple times and he's about ready to be done. So what you're going to want to do, if you have somebody to assist you, that's going to be a lot easier. If not, try and start out with the snake kind of on your lap, sitting at an angle like this, and pick them up. Try to expose the area where you're going to be applying the cream. Kind of hold them against your body. That'll usually make them a little less antsy about it. When you have the area exposed, you just want to use the cream, use your finger. Oh, I'm sorry, buddy. Apply it, kind of rub it in a little bit, and again, you want to give it a minute or two to kind of absorb without him rubbing off on anything. But after that, go ahead and return them to their enclosure. Like I said, it is going to rub off on the substrate, probably the inside of the enclosure, but that's fine. Once it's had a little time to absorb, it'll still do its job. All right, well, I hope that taught you a little bit about how to use Silvadene cream for your snake. Say bye-bye, Erwin.
Bye.